Inside Michigan Football is presented by Meyer.
Hi again, friends, and welcome to another edition of Inside Michigan Football. Doug Carson, John Jansen at Husky Stadium in Seattle, where Saturday Michigan loses 27-17. Tough place to play, but you can't make it easier on the opponent by giving them short fields in the second half.
No, you can't turn the ball over. And I know that they went to Jack Tuttle because it created a spark, but they went away from Davis Warren earlier in the year because of the turnovers. I know Alex Orji last week had a turnover, and when the game is on the line, especially from a guy that's as veteran as Jack Tuttle is, you wouldn't expect to have those, and you can't have those.
No. Well, we'll pick it up early in the game. Michigan's second drive of the game. Actually, Washington's second drive of the game. Michigan's defense had an 83-yard field to defend, but remember the problems on 3rd and long against Texas? They were back 3rd and 11 and 3rd and 9 get converted by Washington.
You've got to find a way to get off the field. You give yourself an advantage by being good on 1st and 2nd down. You force them into 3rd and long, and then all of a sudden you let them out of jail. And I think part of the problem was the very first play of the game was that long completion. Now all of a sudden, the corners are a little bit nervous. They don't want to get beat deep, but they're giving up too much of a cushion.
Led to a 3-yard touchdown pass. Washington led it 7-0. At this point, they had 142 yards of offense, but a missed field goal kept it a one-score game. Let's go late in the first quarter. Josiah Stewart here in Jansen Vision.
Yeah, and we talk about during the broadcast, they were just a half step away from affecting the quarterback. But on this one here, they're actually able to affect the quarterback. This ends up being an incompletion, and this is where Josiah Stewart, he's going to come in here, and honestly, he's just trying to pick off the guard and allow the defensive tackle to come around. But he finds a way to get inside all by himself. He gets the guard on the hip and is able to, just as he hits the quarterback, it throws it off the pass just enough to make it an incompletion.
Wolverines get a stop there. Let's go to Jansen Vision again. Now, here's an example of Washington giving Michigan a completely different look up front, and the Michigan offensive line starting to figure out some pass protection.
Yeah, and you'll notice there's nobody up here as a defensive lineman. They don't have their hand in the dirt. Even their edge rushers, who are like linebacker type guys, they don't have their hand in the dirt. So the goal is for the center, who am I going to identify as the guys that are coming? They've got 6 up front, but you know that somebody is going to have to cover both of these receivers. So you got 2 here because your safety is in the middle of the field. When that happens, you know both of these guys are going to have to cover, so they're probably only going to bring these 5 guys in here, and that's exactly what happens. And it's a great job of communicating. They actually dropped one guy out, but they are able to shift over from that position. One guy drops out, I just kick myself out to the next guy.
So the ball got batted down on that play, and Alex Orji at this point was 3 of 7, but he had 2 passes batted down. Washington eventually took a 14-0 lead on a 16-yard touchdown pass. And so, with Orji playing that, they decided to go to Jack Tuttle. Now, there's an interesting exchange on the sideline at this point that our Jason Avant on the radio broadcast noticed. It was Alex Orji shaking Jack Tuttle's hand and giving him a hug as he went into the game.
Basically telling him good luck. Hey, you got their support, you got Davis' support, you got my support, even though I'm the one that's coming out. I didn't get the job done, now it's your turn to go get it.
So Jack Tuttle started to put together a drive. This is his first drive of the year. He was injured in fall camp, and look at this. He gets his one completion on this drive. Donovan Edwards got it going with some runs, and Jack Tuttle made a couple plays with his feet as well.
Yeah, when you have a quarterback, one that opens up the passing game, because we talked about it, he's looking right, and all of a sudden he dumps it off to Donovan Edwards on the left. It opens up so much of the offense, but it does in the run game as well.
Let's go to Jansen Vision here. It's 14-0. Michigan looking at a 2nd down and short.
And here's what you get. We always talk about that extra guy in the box. So right now you've got 5 up here, and you've got 7. You've got 7 total guys in the box. So because you've got a quarterback that is a threat, you're going to have everybody out here is manned up, everybody here is manned up, and you're going to still have a deep safety. So you don't have the extra guy in the box. What that does then is, as they bring Max Bredesen in motion, as he normally likes to do, he does a great job of coming in here, setting the edge, but it opens up and it cleans things up for Donovan Edwards. So they bring one guy off the edge. Now all Donovan has to do, stick his foot in the ground, break one tackle, and he's going to find a way to get right out the backside. Or front side.
He took it to the house for a touchdown. That was a familiar-looking touchdown run against Washington. That made it 14-7. Now Michigan's got a little juice. The defense actually gets a 3 and out and gets the offense the football back late in the first half. Good job by the defense.
Great job by the defense, and that's what happens when you put a drive together. You create a little excitement. The defense goes out there with a different feel and a different mission.
So here's Michigan with the run game going again. Jack Tuttle finds Colston Loveland on this drive, finds Donovan Edwards. This was an interesting play. It added on 15 yards for a personal foul, hands to the face. But you're starting to see more of the passing game here with Jack Tuttle.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly what happens when you have a quarterback that can go through his progressions, when he can look off, a center fielder, a safety. It opens things up, and you get a nice play here.
Zavada would kick a field goal to make it 14-10, and then right before the half, Michigan really got some momentum when they blocked the field goal.
Yeah, and I mean, their field goal kicker has had a rough couple of weeks, and when that happens, you want to try everything that you can do to keep an advantage on your end. Getting that block, going into halftime, only being down 1 score, and knowing that you come out, if you get a touchdown, you can take the lead, was a huge momentum shift.
We'll have a look at what happened in the second half, and also we'll go into the Michigan locker room and hear from the head coach, Sharon Moore, coming up on Inside Michigan Football.
Inside Michigan Football is brought to you by Meijer, presenting sponsor of the 2024 Michigan football season and proud sponsor of thousands of local sports teams across the Midwest. Inside Michigan Football is brought to you by University of Michigan Health. There's a difference between an answer and a Michigan answer. To learn more about Michigan's best hospital, visit michigananswers.com.
So Michigan trailed at 14-10 at the half in Seattle on Saturday night. And let's go to Michigan's first drive of the second half. Amarion Walker. This is a good catch. Most importantly, he hangs onto the football when he gets hit on this first drive of half 2.
It was great. You'd love to see Amarion Walker get involved in the offense. We know he's a deep threat, but if you can use him in a number of different ways, he gets comfortable, it adds another weapon to the offense.
Jack Tuttle will get another first down on the run, and then Samaj Morgan, first a jet sweep, and then a little swing pass out of the backfield.
Yeah, and when you saw him on the jet sweep, he got hit at the out of bounds line. Took the brunt of that one. You could tell once he got the ball back in his hands, he wanted to deliver a blow and tried to do that here.
Let's go to Jansen Vision, 2nd down and 7 inside the Washington 10-yard line.
Yeah, and this is the touchdown to Colston Loveland. And here's what I want you to watch is just keep an eye on Jack Tuttle. And he does a great job. Thought he was going to escape in the pocket, ends up extending it. But then when you get a chance, when Colston Loveland does come into the screen here, all right, Colston Loveland right now, he is open, but Jack Tuttle is under duress. So he's going to eventually come around the backside here. And Colston Loveland, as Jack Tuttle goes this way, Colston Loveland, his mission is I've got to just trail him like this and continue to make myself available. That's all he does. And all of a sudden, there it is. Great job of extending the play, escaping the pocket, and finding a receiver open.
So Michigan led the game at this point, 17-14. Let's go back to Jansen Vision for this 3rd down play.
This is exactly where their quarterback wanted to go with the ball. They did not want to go at Will Johnson all game long. So when you see this play start, he's going to be looking this way. But Josiah Stewart does a good job of putting pressure here, but it's actually TJ Guy coming from the other side that puts the pressure on him. And as soon as that happens, he takes his eyes off here, tries to go over there, and just ends up throwing the ball away. That's what pressure will do when it can finally get home.
All right, so Michigan had scored on 3 consecutive offensive possessions for the first time in a year, but Washington got their mojo back. They rode the crowd here a little bit. They started getting some stops, and as 3rd quarter turns to 4th, Michigan actually forces a field goal deep in their own territory, and this time Grady Gross made it, and we're tied at 17. We go to the 4th quarter, another 3 and out, and we get to a point where Washington is driving, chance to take the lead, and Ernest Hausman comes up big with this interception.
Earlier in the game, he was inches away from making a play similar to this. Same position that he's in, times the jump up right, and just made a heroic play.
But, and this is where the turnovers, they've been turnover free until this point. Jack Tuttle fumbles on the scramble.
Fumbles on the scramble, and it gives Washington the ball on Michigan's side of the field. It's turnovers, we've seen all year long, are so detrimental. And when you lose the turnover battle, which I know there's another one coming up, but it's just hard to win games.
That led to a Washington touchdown. The Huskies had the lead, 24-17. Michigan gets a first down on a 4th and short in their own territory. This feels a bit like a do or die drive. and Cameron Fabiculanen comes up with a huge interception for Washington.
Yeah, he just read Jack Tuttle. Jack Tuttle was watching Coastal 11 come across the field the entire time. He timed it up right and just stepped in front of the ball, maybe a little bit behind, but when you stare down a receiver, it's really hard to make a completion.
The Michigan defense did all they could to force a field goal here, and the field goal was good, and Washington goes on to the 10-point win, 27-17. So, stuff to work on here, but the biggest thing is whether or not Michigan will probably leave the quarterback competition open. Jack Tuttle showed some stuff.
He did, and it'll be interesting to see what they do coming out of the bye week. They do have 2 weeks to work on it, so they're going to go in there and see what does Jack Tuttle provide, what does Davis Warren provide, what is Alex Orji, and there probably will be some type of combination moving forward.
Well, this is a 25-year-old, 6-year player, so a lot of experience. We'll see what happens moving forward. We'll hear from the head coach, Sharon Moore, coming up on Inside Michigan Football.
Good team, tough environment. Turnovers, can't have those, especially when it's tight like that. And they just had more explosive plays. They just executed better than we did. So, I think we left a lot out there for sure, and it's tough. But you just got to watch the film, bounce back, and not let this define us.
I feel like it was a hard-fought game. Defense. We held up. When it mattered, but at the end, we just got to finish and execute. No matter what situation we're in, we just got to go out there and battle.
Just unfortunately didn't make the plays when we needed to. Definitely showed some spark and put together some really good drives, but when we needed to, we just didn't perform well enough as a team.
We played hard, fought hard, just got to execute, finish better. They executed when it was time to execute, but we didn't, so we just got to do better at that.
At the end of the day, we left too many plays out on the field. The execution at the beginning of the game, the execution at the end of the game, something that wasn't up to standard. Something that we got to get better on, and we got to go into the bye and really focus on.
Our conversation with the coach is brought to you by Meyer.
Coach, I know it's a tough one. What was the message to the team after?
Keep fighting, stay together. We got halfway through the season. You got 6 more opportunities to play together, and for us, it's you got to take this and turn it into a positive, as much as we can. So it hurts, and not happy about it, but we got to definitely keep fighting and stay together.
You guys got down 14-0. What went into the decision to make the change at quarterback?
Yeah, Tuttle's been practicing well this week, past couple of weeks, and thought he'd give us a spark, and he definitely did that.
He was able to come out, score on 3 straight drives. You came out at halftime, went down and scored right away. How much of a momentum pickup was it just to have him in there?
Yeah, it was good. I think the players fed off of him. He played really confident, and I think he gave us a spark in the beginning of the game.
Defensively, it was hard to stop their passing attack. What were you seeing? What was happening defensively?
They did a great job executing, timing. We didn't get to them early, and had some busts in coverage, and we got to be better.
When you look at the special teams, you obviously were able to force some field goals early on in the game. They missed some. You had a block. How big was the block?
The block was huge, especially going into halftime. I think it surged the momentum going into the second half, and the boys responded, but obviously we didn't finish well.
And then obviously in the secondary, what happened on that very last play? I know it was obvious that Will Johnson had the pass interference. How costly were the penalties?
Yeah, they were huge. We can't do that. There's really no excuse for it. We have to be better. We got to coach better, and we got to be better with it.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
All right, so there's the thoughts of the head coach. Coach has got a lot to work on. Bye week, get some guys healthy. They were missing 2 offensive linemen Saturday night. They were missing some guys on defense as well. And figure out what they can capitalize on, the stuff that happened well, they did well offensively here Saturday.
A lot of teaching moments, whether it's the turnovers, whether it's pass protection, whether it's just not slipping on a run that could have been a big run defensively. You got to find somebody opposite Will Johnson. And I don't know how much Amir Hall's presence not being here affected that, but it's tough to go into a bye week with a loss. You have 2 weeks to get guys healed up, to continue to work on both sides of the ball and special teams.
We'll go inside the Michigan locker room and hear from the players when we continue here on Inside Michigan Football.
Welcome back, everyone. The noise at Husky Stadium lived up to its billing. It was loud. The loss snapped Michigan's 11-game road win streak, one shy of a program record set 90 years ago.
Washington's a really good team. Rematch of the national championship game, and we just didn't execute when we needed to execute, and they did. So, I just love the fact that our team, we kept fighting, we kept leaning on each other. It's a player-led team, a brotherhood, and the bond that we have. So, And we're just going to move on from this game stronger and better than ever.
Despite 2 turnovers, Jack Tuttle sparked the club off the bench by leading 3 consecutive scoring drives, a stretch that lifted the team on both sides of the ball.
Definitely think there's some positives, and that's what our offense should look like, right? You know what I mean? And that's why it's so frustrating, because we had it, and I got to be better, and I will be better.
How did it feel playing for the first time in a long time?
Yeah, playing this week was like the first time in 9 months where I played ball. So it's a blessing to be able to throw a football again, and thankful to God just for healing me and doing some amazing things. So going to keep getting better week by week.
You clearly felt the surge on offense because you orchestrated those drives, but how much did you feel the entire team lifted by what was happening there for that stretch?
Yeah, I definitely think there was a lot of positive flow on offense and defense. You know what I mean? That's what we are. That's who we should be, right? So it's a perfect example of right. And then in the end, stalled a little bit. It's on me, and I got to be better, right?
You can leave a game like this one of 2 ways. How do you think this team will choose to react to this setback?
Yeah, so there's no doubt about that. We're going to stick together, get better. There's so much left this year, and we're not going to lay down and die, right? That's not who we are. That's not our culture or our identity. So we're going to fight to the last game, and we're going to win out, do whatever we can to beat everyone else on our schedule, put ourselves in a good spot.
Despite a loss, do you feel like this team learned something, took something that it can move forward with?
Always. I mean, always, especially with the loss, there's always something to learn from it. But, this loss would just only bring us closer.
We just all have to look at ourselves in the mirror. Can't point fingers, can't blame coaches, can't blame players. It's a collective, and, as a collective, we just have to continue to buy into each other, and ultimately good things will happen after we buy in with each other even more than we do.
The message, the mood in the locker room after this one, what do you guys take away from this?
Yeah, man, you never want to lose, and I came in a little frustrated, and I'm a leader, and I shouldn't be letting my emotions show, but we're not happy, it's not going to be a happy flight home, so, we just, like I said before, just have to look at ourselves in the mirror and just get better.
The loss ends Michigan's 24-game Big Ten winning streak dating back to 2021. The guys now have a bye week. They'll try to kickstart another Big Ten winning streak in a couple of weeks on the road once again at Illinois. For Inside Michigan Football, I'm Ed Kingerski.
I think we're going to rally together. Got a bye week coming up, so going to fix a lot of things, fix our good habits and fix our bad habits, fix all the habits. So just really honing into doing us and being us and getting closer as a team. Can't let a loss define us.
You can't be too high, you can't be too low. After a loss, after a W, you got to look forward to have a growth mindset on getting better next week. Still a long season. If we win out, we're still in the playoffs. So, we don't win out. At the end of the day, the plan's got to be moving forward is how we get better each day. And we can't look too far in the future to do that.
As a leader on this team, what are you going to do this next week? It's a bye week, to make sure this team's ready for another road trip here in another tough place in Illinois in a couple of weeks.
Just start to bring everybody up. There's no highs, there's no lows. We just keep getting better, improving, bringing everybody else along to improve.
So we mentioned the bye week, Michigan 4-2 going into the bye week, and then the Illini, another road trip. And this Illinois team looks like it's better than advertised.
Yeah, it's another road trip. You're going to have to find a way to get a win on the road. Michigan, this is the first opportunity. It didn't go well. Going into the bye week, you've got to set some goals. All right, this is what we want to be doing better in pass protection. This is what we want to be doing better in defensively on third downs. Like certain things that have held this team back. You set those certain goals, you work on those. You got 2 weeks to get guys healthy, work on those goals so that when you do go on the road again, hopefully you're a little bit more productive.
Michigan, Donovan Edwards had a good game Saturday night. They got the 1-2 punch in the backfield. Colston Loveland's reliable. They got to find another receiver on the outside to emerge.
Well, and hopefully maybe Marion Walker having that one catch. Maybe it's Samaj Morgan, Fred Moore. They've got a number of options. Somebody has to step up and make some plays on the outside.
So it's Michigan and Illinois coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll take a look back at that game down the road here on Inside Michigan Football. So long.
Inside Michigan Football is brought to you by Meijer, presenting sponsor of the 2024 Michigan football season and proud sponsor of thousands of local sports teams across the Midwest.